Do you ever see like those little pamphlets and they're like very scary? Like they're just like, you got to give it up to Jesus or you're going to hell. And it's like a demon randomly in there. And I was like, I told my mom, I was like, yo, have you heard about getting baptized? And she was like, yeah, you've been baptized. I was like, yo, we run it back. My dad, we had this moment where we linked up, and this ain't no like secret. I have a song about it.
Okay.
Conversation on the Parking Lot. It's on all streaming platforms.
Let's go.
But
okay.
He was like, so here's all the bills that you didn't know about. Your cell phone stuff, like health insurance. And he was just like, sorry about that, player. I'm not against responsibility, but I feel like maybe you could wean somebody into it. That's not just like, hey, yo, I'm about to hit him with this today. Like, he was like, yeah, by the way, me and your mom getting divorced. Also, I don't think you're my kid. So I started crying, and he looked at me and was like, I'm crying. I was just like, okay, fuck you for real.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the RXS podcast. Today we got Skuzii in the building. What's up, man?
Oh, what's up? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. How you feeling?
I feel great. It's a lovely day. It might snow in Virginia, but besides that, it's all good.
Like, hopefully it's snow here then.
Maybe. It's possible. I don't know. I don't think it's supposed to go on too long. I was just checking the weather now just to see what it's going to be like when we get back up there. And apparently it's snowing in Richmond. So we're going to see. I mean, if the temperature picks up throughout the day, I doubt it's going to stay like that. But we'll see.
Are you cool with snow or not?
The kid in me loves the snow. But as an adult, well, actually, let me change that up. Because the last time I had to deal with snow, I still had a regular job. I feel like now that I'm like, just work for me, it might be different. Like, I'm like, all right, now we just turned up. We just gonna have a good time. We can go outside and kick some snow, knock over some children or something. Like, yeah, turn up.
Yo, that's funny. So speaking of where you're from in the snow, tell everybody where you're from.
So, I'll say this. I live in Petersburg, Virginia, which for those who don't know is just south of Richmond, Virginia. I'm from Newport News, Virginia.
Okay.
By way of Oxford, North Carolina on my mother's side, and then St. Thomas on my father's side. And I was born in D.C.
Okay, born in D.C. Where, so your formative years, like elementary, middle school, where was that at?
Mostly Newport News, mostly.
Okay.
Thankfully, my parents were really big on making sure I was around my family. So I did spend a lot of time growing up in Oxford and also in St. Thomas too. So mostly now, as far as school is concerned, like that, I went to the school system in Newport News. But
you were still coming to North Carolina and going around and make sure you were close to your family.
Exactly.
What was it like growing up?
It was pretty cool, I would say. I had what I would find as an enjoyable childhood. I would say the only thing was since I was a military kid, which is why I was in Virginia. My dad was in the Army. My mom was in the Army for a little bit. So very used to making new friends and stuff like that. Thankfully, we didn't move around as much as most people did. Most people move like every 2-4 years.
Yeah.
But a lot of my friends did, so definitely used to making new friends and everything like that. But it was fun. Newport News is a very diverse area, I think, because of the Army. So I grew up with all different types of people, mostly black, of course. But then I grew up with a lot of Puerto Ricans. We got Koreans over there. We got white people, obviously. So and thankfully everybody's culture is very apparent there. So even though I wasn't, in the Caribbean, they have a lot of heavy Caribbean influence in Newport News. And then, of course, when I get to go back home, I get that too. So I was still very in contact with my culture, along with a lot of other people's too. So very, diverse.
So what culture outside of your own did you connect to the most?
It's hard to say, honestly, because I would say I'm very, very in touch with my Caribbean culture, heavy. But again, it's my culture though. But I feel like if I wasn't, it'd still be there. I used to kick it with some Puerto Ricans, real, real heavy. But also, my family is just a smidge on my grandma's side. That's where she's from, because Puerto Rico and St. Thomas are literally 15 minutes each other. Okay. Yeah. So that's not as prevalent in my family, but definitely growing up, I got to be around a lot of that as well, too. And we talked about it, too, with church culture as well.
Yeah. Oh, so you grew up in church, too?
Nah, not really. But everybody around me was. Yeah. So that was something that's I think both my parents were raised in their own ways. And my mom, she heavy Baptist background. Again, we talked about Oxford. Yeah. So I'm sure you can imagine. Yes. My dad comes from Catholic background. Okay. So my family in St. Thomas are French immigrants. They're immigrants from St. Barths. So a lot of them came there in the early 1900s to get citizenship, American
Uh
citizenship,
huh.
because it's a U.S. territory like Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, we got one church that's been there forever, is St. Anne's, and we've all been baptized in that church. But I was so, because again, being around my mom's mom at Oxford.
Yeah.
Do you ever see like those little? I don't know if they still make them, but they're little pamphlets, and they're like very scary. Like they're just like, you got to give it up to Jesus, or you're going to hell, and it's like a demon randomly in there. And I was like, yeah, my grandma used to have them around the house all the time. I was like, they give these. And I was an adult. I'm like, y'all gave that out to people. I saw that when I was 6, and I was
Hey,
like,
they were probably knocking on doors, giving them to people.
yeah. I told my mom, I was like, yo, have you heard about getting baptized? And she was like, yeah, you've been baptized. I was like, yo, we run it back. Because I'm like, I was with dad's people. I need to get with y'all too. Like, because I got, again, Catholic baptism, but I'm like, yo, I need to get dunked.
I dipped in the water,
So
yeah.
I got double baptized. I got baptized when I was born, like when I was a baby, and then I got baptized Baptist when I had to been like 6 or 7, but I requested it. I was like, yo, let's set this up. Like, let's make it happen. And everybody was so proud, but it was straight fear. I'm like, yo, but I'm glad it happened though. It was a good experience. Yeah,
absolutely. So let's talk about your Caribbean background for a minute. So you're half Caribbean, full Caribbean. What's the story there?
Half technically. So yeah, because my father, they call him Frenchies. But
Okay.
it's literally just like the French immigrants over there.
Okay.
But, that's in St. Thomas, and then of course that's its own mix because like his mother's mixed. His mom is half Puerto Rican, half Frenchy. His dad's a whole Frenchy. My mother is Black, North Carolina, obviously.
Yeah.
Everybody's I'm a third Cherokee and blah blah blah. So I'm pretty sure that's mixed in there somewhere. So it's a nice halfway split.
Yeah. Is there anything that comes from your Caribbean culture that you don't see in American culture, especially like with your father? Like, do you see any differences in lifestyle or discipline or rules or anything like that?
It's hard to say because it's like I feel like a lot of I can't speak for white folks just because it's not my background, but like
Yeah.
as far as like most dads are dads, honestly.
Yeah.
They just in different ways. And it's funny because like what I like about social media now is people like do joking videos of like my Caribbean dad early in the morning. You hear like dude choking in the bathroom trying to like brush his teeth. But it's like, I think it's everybody dad. Like a lot of like dads get up or be like mad disciplining. I'll say my dad, what I noticed with him is like his balance is crazy because he was really on me. He was like very big disciplinary, but he turned up too. Like he party hard, but he won't like I won't outside. Like yeah, it wasn't like he was like, oh my dad turns up, so I turn up. Nah, that didn't happen. So I'll say the discipline was like real. He was real strict, but he was also like I've seen him turn up crazy.
Yeah. What's one of the things that he taught you as a child that you still carry with you today?
Initiative. He said that word so much, it's still like stuck in my head. Because he used to like just like, if I walk past like a full trash can, he's like, you need to take the initiative. And he say initiative, but also very important context. My dad was a drill sergeant too. So that's very important context.
That's very, very important.
Yeah, he was a drill sergeant and he was a first sergeant. So yeah, he was in the Army till he was like 41, 42. It's crazy because I remember when I was younger, I was like, man, he's so old. And now I'm like, you retired at 41. That's wild.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I mean, and he still works for the military now. That's like his civilian job. But yeah, so he was.
An initiative was the thing that sticks with you.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a lot of different stuff. I mean, of course, it's learn what to do, what not to do is important. And he told me that too. He'd be like, look, don't take this type of advice from me. So, but initiative was thing. And then what I learned too from him is like even on like a more serious note with like how much I've seen him turn up or do certain things, like you can. Just because you see people do certain things that maybe might not align with other people's lifestyle doesn't mean you can't learn stuff from them. Yeah. And I've seen that a lot too with people like Kevin Hart's a good example. Like I've seen when he had the whole cheating thing. I see mad people like, man, I can't learn nothing from him. Like, I mean, don't take relationship advice, but he's doing all right. Like, I'm pretty sure you could get some financial advice from him. So that's the other thing too. Is just like as I've gotten older, learning the dichotomy of my parents of just like, yeah, those are my parental figures, and like I can't take everything from them. They're not perfect, but I can learn a lot from them.
I've heard the expression like "don't throw the baby out with the bathwater." Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
And like, or like, chew the meat, spit out the bones.
Pause, but yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, I've never thought about it with parents.
Yeah.
Like, you're bringing an idea to me that I think is important, because most people that I know either idolize their parents or demonize their parents.
Yeah.
I've never heard a person say, I'm going to take what I can, I'm going to learn the good, I'm going to embrace the qualities that will help me, and then the things that don't align with who I become, I just let it be what it is. But those are still my parents, and I love them.
Yeah, and I think it takes some. It was a balance for me because I was on either side because I was chasing my parents' validation for a long time because they're both like the best of both of their sides of family. Like in my opinion, no disrespect to my aunties, and uncles, but they're both like the oldest on both sides. They're both like were doing really well for themselves very early and stuff. So I felt like there was a lot of pressure on me, not even just from them, but on myself. That it was like I tried so much to make them proud so often. And like when I felt like I wasn't getting it, it was really. Can we curse?
Yes.
Just want to be natural, but keep it cool too. But yeah, it's like it was times when if I felt like I was fucking up or something like that, I took it real personal. And then when I did do good and they wasn't supporting me in the ways I would have liked it, it was mess. It was like it really hurt me. So I got to a point, like I had got to a point at one time in my life where it was just like nothing was working for me. I couldn't be in school no more. My parents, I didn't know they were in the process of splitting up at the time. So like I'm taking it personal because they not really messing with me at the time. I went through some real shit with them and just me in personal. And at one point I was just like, man, fuck everybody, yo. It's about me. I gotta do because like for example, like rapping, I didn't want to rap because I was embarrassed about what that would sound like as a profession. Like I was like, I can't court no woman to be like, oh, well, I'm a rapper. I don't know if you ever heard of one of those. Like I just felt so corny saying it, but that was what was bringing me peace. And it was like, it wasn't like I couldn't do other stuff musically. And of course, as I've gotten older, I've learned different ways to, make it work for me. But I had to like come to terms with the fact that it was like, it wasn't that I didn't want to rap. It was just, I was just embarrassed and I felt like I wasn't gonna be like good for my family. My mom can't be like, oh my
She can't be proud of that.
yeah. And then once I was like, respectfully, I love y'all, but and I don't mean this, but fuck y'all. But it's just the term. I have a great relationship with my parents now. My mom's gonna see that and be like, all right, bro, you gotta come on. I saw that podcast you did. I'm just the term. I don't mean that for real. But it just more in the sense that like I couldn't be worried about nobody else. It was just about I had to like see what made me happy and then we'll go from there.
Yes. So let's talk about it for a second. First, I want to talk about what happened that caused that division between your parents, and then how did rapping come in and kind of help that along?
Yeah. Like my division with me from my parents?
Yes, like what happened that made you be like, this is going bad?
It was erosion. It was just over time. And then eventually it was something like there are countless little events like I knew when, like, for example, the school I went to, so I lived in Newport News, but then we moved to Williamsburg, which is just like where white people go to die. It's like a really nice area. I don't know how familiar you are with like
but that's
Jamestown,
hilarious because I have no clue.
Yeah,
it just sounds wild.
It's like the first capital, I think, of I think before Richmond was the capital, Williamsburg was the first capital.
Okay, okay.
So it's an old town.
Okay, I got you.
But white people love to go there in vacation, which is wild because they have like, it's like where you see, oh, this is where we kept the slaves, and this was because like a lot of things, and I'm glad they're saying it on social media too. Like Virginia, your first like a lot of people's first field trip is you go to Jamestown, and you pick the cotton. That's like I hope they don't do that anymore. But that was like a thing.
I didn't know the picking the cotton was in there. I do know about Jamestown as a field trip, but I didn't know about the picking the cotton. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, that's wild. But what was I about to say? But yeah, so anywho, we moved to Williamsburg. So Newport News to Williamsburg is like, I don't even know. Are you familiar with Newport News at all?
Newport News, I'm a little bit familiar with. Yes,
not the safest place in the world. It's cool now, but it's a very big. I went from like again having that type of mixed like background and whatnot to black, white. Like, it's literally just mostly white kids. I
Mm.
think the school I ended up at, it was maybe 30% black, 3 Mexicans and the Chinese dude sprinkled in. Like, it was not diverse at all. But anywho, I switched schools or whatever, but I stayed at the school I was at, Newport News, because they had a magnet program, and I was really focused on playing sax. That's my other thing that I do too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was really, really focused on that. And I remember I had got accepted to this Music Honor Society, Tri-M. And I put together, my first recital I had was trash.
And what grade is this?
10th and 11th.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so
okay.
10th I had, but I never had formal musical like training. I just always had went through just, school system.
Yeah.
Not that my parents are musicians.
Okay.
So I didn't know a lot of these kids that are like in the honor society, they've been like playing violin or trumpet since they was like 3-4 years old. They have outside like practice. I'm like, I go home and I practice. Like, that's my practice. But anywho, my first recital was trash, and my parents told me. Like, they came with me and they was just like, man, yo, that was garbage. That was which I appreciate them being honest. It's now that we're all older and better, there are better ways to do that. But I appreciate the honesty.
But back then it hurt.
Oh, it was so bad. Because it really was. It was like, if you're playing and it's not going well, that was like, I was like, this is not going good. And we got in the car and it was like, wow, that was terrible. They was like, did you practice at all? I'm like, yeah.
Did you practice at all?
So the second one, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get it.
So because they said it was terrible, you had to get better. Like, did it make you like, nah, the next one I'm gonna kill it?
Oh yeah. So I was like, and the thing was, I arranged my next one, because the first one, it was like classical. I played like the old guard or something like that, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna do this. So the second one, it was a Christmas thing, and I played. I did an arrangement of Green Sleeves. My favorite thing is the John Coltrane version, and it was around about midnight.
Okay.
And I made the arrangement. This is my junior year. I had my friend play drums. It was lit. And then I'm like getting like mad compliments. Like, yo, that was crazy. My parents didn't come. So that that shit like broke my heart. But it made me kind of like realize too. I was like, all right, why are you doing this stuff? So that was like the first little chip. And then little moments after that where it was like, there's some support here, there's not support there, et cetera, et cetera. And I think what was it, the straw that broke the camel's back?
Yes.
I would have messed that up.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
that's the right term.
Man, the back and the camel, it just like broke down. But I was in school. I was at Hampton. And I was like doing everything to stay in school. So I was on music scholarship. I was on academic scholarship, messed up my grades, lost that. I joined the military. I was in the National Guard because I had been told they was gonna pay for school. Apparently they don't. They just give you money. Like, it'd be like if I'm like, yo, I'm gonna take you out to dinner. All right, bet. And I give you $10 and drop you off at Red Lobster. Like, you'll figure it out. You get some biscuits. That's what the Guard does. But anyway,
Okay.
I'm going through all this, trying to just figure stuff out, and eventually I had to drop out, like, just because of finances. And then my dad, we had this moment where he like, we linked up, and this ain't no like secret. I have a song about it. Called
Okay.
Conversation on the Parking Lot. It's on all streaming platforms.
Let's go.
But yeah, it's a little bit older, and me and him have talked about this too. But essentially, I didn't know what was going on with them, but he had like picked me up not picked me up, but he wanted to link up one day and was just like, hey, I gotta drop some stuff off to you. I'm like, all right, cool. And we couldn't get in contact because like I was so broke at the time, I didn't have like a real phone. I had a Sprint service, like I was on a family plan, and I would go on eBay and get like a real cheap phone, and I would just keep switching them out.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I wasn't on social media, none of that.
Okay.
But yeah, so we linked up one day and we got in the car, and it was just pretty much him just shitting on me. Like, he was just like, damn, you're drunk, I can smell gin on your breath. I'm like 21, so I did turn up the night before. I'm like, nigga, you get drunk too. Like, but he like, and I'm like, he's just like, yeah, well, I know you just got out of school. Keep in mind, I just got out like the month prior.
Okay.
He was like, so here's all the bills that you didn't know about. Like, your cell phone stuff. And I'm like, damn, I could have just stayed on playing and get you bread. Like, health insurance. And it's crazy as this is when the Obama stuff happened, so you could stay on your people's health insurance till you're 26.
Yeah.
I was like 22, and he was just like, sorry about that, player. And this was just like, yeah, here are all your bills, which is like, I'm not against responsibility, but I feel like maybe you could wean somebody into it. That's not just like, hey, yo, I'm about to hit him with this today. Like, damn, homie. So that happened. I'm just like, all right, well, I'm going to figure it out. I'm grown. It's all right. He was like, yeah, by the way, me and your mom getting a divorce. I'm like, goddamn. And so and then he was like, but I promise you, this is all in succession. He's like, also, I don't think you're my kid. So I really could use you getting a DNA test. I'd really appreciate that. It's like a 5-minute conversation. So I started crying, and he looked at me and was like, "Why you crying?" And I was just like, "Okay, fuck you for real. Like this day, like this is not cool." So I had to deal with that. But then I was having similar. My mom wasn't nowhere near that cold, but she was starting to distance herself. And I could tell anytime you come in the crib, because like our people from St. Thomas would come, like my grandma, my grandfather, sometimes my aunt, they come stay with us for like the summer. So they was with us, and I came to visit the house one. Like at this point, I'm not calling nobody. I'm not really showing up. I'm just outside taking care of my business.
Yeah.
So I came by just make sure I see my grandma, my grandfather, and it's the house was cold. I'm like, the fuck is going on? Like it's just different, and I can see it's like, all right, this is like for real, for real. And then my mom just kind of distanced herself too. But I mean, now that I'm older and stuff, I get it. Like they're all processing, going through what they're going through. But all those things just led up to me, like, and again, it just other things like spiritually matching up at time. Like, I have no money, so I couldn't stay in the apartment I was staying in. I ended up staying at my friend Veronica's apartment, which is also an album that I have on all streaming platforms. But it is
Let's
Veronica's
go.
apartment. It's about that whole time period.
Yeah.
But that's why I wrote about it, was because it was so imperative. So I'm in her crib just like trying to figure out like what do I want? And then at the same time, I'm seeing like different rap interviews, like J. Cole. That was like right before 2014 Forest Hills came out. And he's talking about similar stuff as far as like his mental, like reading certain books and things like that. So I found like the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success.
Yeah.
I started getting more in contact with myself spiritually and figuring out what that meant to me. And the biggest question for myself was just like, all right, well, what do you want? So I was just in the crib, and I just treated it like jail. Like I was getting diesel. I was just working out all the time. My metabolism had worn off, but it was cool because I got bulky, and then later in life it didn't work. I got real chubby. I didn't know that you got to keep working out. But at the time, I didn't have to worry about that. I had abs at the time, so it was cool.
Yeah.
So my body was good, my mind was good. And then I started looking at how to start really doing music stuff serious, because it's like 2015, so we don't have as much information as we have now, but still more.
It was still more, than
previously. So I really just looked into like my first project was like, at that time I had projects before, but my first serious project was called The Musing, and I pressed up all the CDs. I had like didn't really have any like more connections with my friends as far as music, so I produced the whole project myself. I mixed it, and I had been doing that, but some of the things I didn't have to do. At that point, I was like, no, nobody want to fuck with me. That's cool. I love me. I'm proud of me. I'm gonna work with me. So, and then it was also not just to do it for myself, to show myself, but I was coming up with really good business plans. Like at the time, like this is probably the last leg of physical CDs. I knew dudes that was at the open mic selling them for like $5, $10. And of course you stay there and everybody's like, only $5. And I'm like, all right, it's 50 cents a piece. And like due to like some of my previous business organizations, I knew how to I knew like people had a wrong idea of a re-up. Everybody's thinking like, okay, well, I can sell the CD for 10. I'm like, well, you don't have to. You splitting which the money that you coming in. It only takes me 50 cents a CD. If I do $1, I'm not just breaking even. I'm making double what I already spent.
Yeah.
And I'm undercutting everybody else. So I got a lot of my CDs out at that time just off of just that little business plan. And ever since then, it's honestly since that moment, 2015, it's just been me figuring it out and like developing and moving up from there. Like to this day, that's how we here. You know what I mean? Just watching and listening and paying attention.
Absolutely. So what was going on in your life? How many projects do you have out now?
I hate to be ghetto, but let's take a look.
Let's look and see.
Yeah, I'll say what's available versus what there is, because that's something too that's I'm about to do also.
I'll give them a second.
Oh yeah,
because I need to know.
Because the EPs, they put them separate.
Yes. So is it coming up?
There's 3 albums out. There's actually 4.
Okay.
One of them is about to come back up. It's an older project.
Okay.
EPs, we got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so 6 projects, not including singles. 3 full, 3 EPs, soon to be 7. Again, not new, just putting the old stuff back out. I have a website where you can, like, if you want to purchase my projects from me specifically, you can do that. So some of the stuff from the mixtape eras that didn't get put on like actual DSPs, I'm gonna upload it there. So if people do want to purchase that, you can. And then granted, it's not the best stuff because like I'm putting out way better things now. But some people it's memento. Some people like it. For the people who were supporting me or in college at that time, it's like it's like going back. Like I remember when I drank 4 Locos. Like That was fun.
And I made music during that time.
Hello, memories.
So between the first official project that you mentioned and the one that you put out after that, what was going on in your life to get you from one thing to another musically? And like the backstory of it all too.
Honestly, I got my shit together. Like I as an adult, because that was when I went from like being comfortable staying on the homie's couch to being like, again, how do I'm like, because I've been really good at deductive reasoning over my life. Like, okay, what do I want and what's preventing me from getting there? So I knew like from there even until now, I think everybody's issue has always been debt. So I was like, okay, how can I minimize my debt so I can put more into my lifestyle and more into the music? So I got, I think my first job at that time, I worked at Sprint. I was like,
Okay.
just like a sales person.
Okay, wait.
Roger is the way you say.
At the end of the day, I would need to be comfortable with myself more. And because I felt like in order for me to be my true self, or in order for me to have a big impact on the world, I would need to be with a group of people that I know, when that's not the case. I was kind of scared at first because I felt like I was going to miss them. My parents have told me many times that I have gifts and I need to use it, and like people wish they could do what I do, and I was like, I don't want to do that. Since I was really young, I really like to speak and make people feel better in life, and it's just something I enjoy. Hi, this is Nay, and that was Nay's Place. If you want to catch more, search Nay's Place on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and RXS Entertainment YouTube channel.
When you worked at Sprint, did you get a better phone?
Oh yeah, that was the first thing. I think I asked that in my interview. I was like, "Can I get I had a BlackBerry. This was like way beyond BlackBerry time. So I was just like, "Can I how soon can I get a phone?" It was like, I mean, next you want to work next week? I'm like, "Yo, that day." Please. My first Instagram post looked crazy because it was very like not okay trap phone like graphics, but yeah, I definitely got a phone as soon as I got there.
So you start working at Sprint. You
iPhone 5S.
Oh,
that was
let's
the first
go.
One. Yeah.
So you getting your life together.
Yeah. But yeah, so but yeah, everything it just kind of fell in line. My first thing was get back into school, so I made up enough money. I got in, and I was like, this is trash. And at least for now, like I ain't against education, but I was like, for what I'm trying to do, it's not lining up at the time. And then I got another job. I started working at Navy Federal. So I became a banker.
Oh yeah, you coming up.
Yeah,
that's a come up.
And so the whole time I'm feeding into myself, and I'm like, and I'm doing projects at the same time. So the music went well for me. It wasn't the best quality. And it's crazy because at the time, my friends I was seeing about April and Vista, they're doing well. And I'm like, man, I'm submitting to all the same blogs. How the fuck they doing good? And I'm not doing. Whole time, just my music wasn't that good yet. And now that I'm older and I'm look back and I'm like, okay, I'm glad I was that confident. That I was like, man, y'all crazy. But I'm like,
it really wasn't good.
Nah, it was okay, but it just wasn't. It wasn't that good. They shit was like good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so excuse me.
No,
I just
good.
kept just working. I did my second project was called Infinite Vibes from the Lands of Finesse. And that was what really did it for me because I had I remember even the cover art. I was just learning just to tap in with people better. Like I was learning more about art and minimalism. So I was like, no one's really doing like art for their stuff, or at least current art. It's just, and then even if it looks good, it's usually high quality, but it's not tapped into the scene. So there was this artist named Ash Schmidt in Australia I followed, and he had this painting that he did that was it was the scene from Frank Ocean. Pyramids.
Okay.
Where it's like every pyramids, the whole song, he put it into one piece. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's dope. So I hit him. I didn't even think he was gonna respond because at this time I probably got less than 1,000 followers. He got like 12,000. I'm just like, hey, I love your art. What can I do to work on artwork with you? And he hit me right back, and it was just like, hey, just this and that, this much money. And the cover was, and I just thought the most random thing I could think of. He's like, what you want to do? I'm like, I want it to be me with an octopus on a pit bull leash. And he was just like, okay. I can't really draw the leash. I'm like, okay, just me with an octopus. And then that's what we have now to this day. and that became part of my brand too. So I just learned how to make bread off of it. Like I started doing merch. I knew a dude who did merch. I was in a really good studio at the time. Like I didn't need to be in a studio, but it was just all the people in the 7-5. Like for those who don't know, 7-5 is Hampton Roads area, Newport News, Hampton, where some of your favorites, Michael Vick to Pharrell, we're all from that area. That's 7-5. So a lot of the bigger entrepreneurs and different like artists and stuff was all within the studio, upper room studio. Shout out to the upper room.
Yeah.
And I met a lot of good people in there. A lot of people I'm still cool with to this day. And again, I didn't even use a lot of the equipment sometimes. Sometimes I just bring my stuff there just to be like
In that environment.
yeah, like y'all let me get a room. And then at the same time too, I was just hungry and very disrespectful. I was very upset that a lot of people wasn't fucking with me. Like I'm not gonna say, we could talk about it off air, but it's part of the story. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
But I'm very close with someone who's very, very well known now.
Okay.
And at the time, I wouldn't say bitter. I would say bitter. I was
Yeah,
bitter.
you had a chip on your shoulder, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
for
It's
sure.
okay though.
I was hot, but it was one of them things where it was like one person does better, and you stuck back here. It's like, fuck. But then everybody stops fucking with you too. And that was what really started to eat me up. And it was just so hard, like at the time, like just trying, because I was so diverse. I play saxophone, rap, can kind of almost sing-ish.
Yeah.
So like people putting me on like R&B shows, but it's not that. And I couldn't get like open mic features. I would go to open mics, they put me at the bottom of the list. And then the whole time, like, you know, the homie that you homie says something disrespectful and then acts like you don't exist no more.
So the homie that ended up being someone that we know well kind of changed up on you?
I was gonna be nice about it because I've been being nice for a while now.
No, don't
Yeah,
be
but-
nice. We won't say the person's name.
Yeah.
But you can tell the whole truth except that part. Except the name.
Essentially, I kept up the support because I didn't want to be one of those friends that was just like, well, I don't want to be the bitter homie that didn't make it. So every time I see him, I'm a big him up. And then at one point, they had a video shoot. They invited me to. I'm like, bet, all right, we still cool. And then to this kind of, I would say from that day for a while, I didn't hear from them like for like a long time. And then one of my friends who's a really good DJ now, she was cool with some people I was cool with. Because essentially what we would do back in the day is they went to ODU, I was at Hampton.
Okay.
So I would come to ODU and sell products and services to some of their friends.
Yes.
And then through that too, I did a lot of networking. So like I'd perform at their open mics and stuff like that. And then when we had events in Hampton, I would extend the same grace to him. So he met a lot of people through me.
I got you.
Including Earth Gang, by the way. Shout out to Earth Gang.
Yeah.
They are nice. They are cool people. So I will shout them out. I appreciate y'all for being so nice to me back then. But yeah, so yeah, that situation, they one of them had went to an event of his in North Carolina actually to like, yo, go support him. And they brought me up like, yo, your man's is doing pretty good. And he's like, who? And it's not like one of them situations where it's like, you don't know that I know this person. It's like we've all hung out many, many times.
So it was acting like they didn't know you.
Yeah. On top of also never speaking to me. And to keep my, I'm reaching out like, yo, proud of you, bro. I'm glad that you doing this. Happy birthday. I know his family. I'm like, his family talked to me, but he won't talk to me. So it's like that being nice shit for so long, and then you hear that, and I'm like, all right, bet, fuck all y'all. I'm going in, but I'm gonna write about it so that I'm like expressing it the right way. And the only thing that sucked about the experience was other people who were feeling the same way took it and went with it. So as opposed to me just expressing myself, other people's like, yeah, that you not famous because of this person's not doing that, and it's like, excuse me, I'm like, no way, I didn't say that. And then it turned to like, yo, fuck this person, and mad people just was like. To me, it turned into a lot of people who weren't where they wanted to be started blaming this person for that. And it's like, okay, that's what I was trying to avoid because that's corny.
Yes, and a lot of people feel like let's talk about that for a second. Because when you grow up with somebody, like one of my closest friends is doing really well as a bass player, right? He and I grew up with a whole gang of musicians, like literally, like spent a lot of time together, did a lot of music together, did studio sessions together. So we together. It was always very, 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 very evident that he was a little in some instances, a lot more ahead. So his moves, his work ethic, his decisions, even as teenagers, it became very, very apparent that he out of here.
Yeah.
It only takes an opportunity, a phone call, some situation, and he's out of here. So once the situation does come and he's out of here, we're all happy.
Yeah.
And I know for me, it's like you're super proud, you're super happy. And then it's that little thing of hoping and wishing there's an opportunity for him to put the homies on.
Right.
Sometimes that happens, sometimes that don't. And the biggest thing that I learned in that situation is he did what he had to do to get where he is. And sometimes situations don't occur that allow people to have that type of power.
Yeah.
And even if they have that type of power, we can get caught up on growing up with people, forgetting that that person who becomes successful know his homies.
Right.
So even though we grew up together, and even though you can play, I know all of you. I knew what it took for me to get here, and I know what will happen if I put you on, because I know you.
And I think that's the part that stings. Like you said, it's just like just knowing. But that was what I had to make peace with too. Was it's just like, especially like after dealing with the storm of unwanted support that came from that, because that was the wrong type of. Because it got to the point that like anytime, because that person kind of burned their bridge with where they're from as far as Newport News goes. It's something like the people who do rock with them either don't know them like that or whatever. And me and them have talked since then. We're
Okay,
not, we're not
good.
like friends or nothing, but I'm gonna just say because we here and I was about to be cool. But anyways, they sent me something and it really pissed me off. But they said it in a nice way. Essentially, when I went off to basic training, I had left them because we had a collective, kind of like what you described too.
Yeah.
As far as like not just musicians, but musicians, rappers, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I was kind of at the forefront of it. So I left him with a big list of stuff that like, hey, if you do these things, we all gonna be straight by the time I come out, because I got like a couple months. And essentially, they didn't do any of those things. When I didn't hold it against them, I wrote everybody. I was lonely. This person, like when this might have been maybe a year or two ago, they randomly DM'd me on Instagram with a video, and dude was just like, "Hey, bro, I know you probably hate me, man, but hey, I was just looking at these letters that you sent me from when you was in basic 10 years ago, and you really had the right idea, bro. Now that I am where I am, I realized this would have worked, and yeah, it sucks I didn't do that and stuff. It's like, I hope you're doing well," and I'm just like. Therapy. I'm like, hey, bro, I don't hate you, nigga, but I'm like, I'm proud of you. I'm glad to see someone that looks like me where I'm from go, and that's what ended up being, because there was like a thing on Twitter one day where like a lot of people where I was from was bashing him. But for what I don't know if he did an interview or something and he said something that didn't add up. I don't know, but at this point I was already over it.
Yeah.
And someone had like mad people was tagging me like, yo, do you see such and such say such and such? I just had to let them know. I tagged him too. I'm like, look. I don't care. I'm like, I'm not going to continue or encourage defacing somebody that's from where I'm from that looks like what I look like. Yeah. It's hard enough to do music as it is. Whatever, he got the ball, whatever he did with it, that's his business. Yeah. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of whoever comes from where I'm from. But just don't include me in any more of the nonsense. I don't care, and I don't want that to be it. Because it's corny at the end of the day.
Yeah, it ends up corny. Like even in the situation where it did hurt, you're responsible for your response.
Damn sure.
And if you have the mind to be successful, if you know how to run a business, if you know how to come up with ideas and concepts that can move you and other people forward, if you don't quit, you're going to be successful. And when you have that mind, you say, hey, man, if it is on me, I'm cool, no matter how long it takes. And from this day forward, I'm not going to expect anything from anybody, even if they the homie.
And that's a lesson. It's like, that's like the ultimate self-reliance. It's like, and then even from my situation personally, if we tie that into my relationship with my parents, me trying with school, me trying all these things, plus that, it ultimately leads up to you are perfectly able and capable to do all these things on your own. And it's more about like appreciating yourself and say that's like I celebrate myself every chance I get. Like my parents, they're like way more supportive and stuff now. Like my mom bought my album. I think she was the first person to bought my album. She likes it, and she don't even listen to music like that. So I was just telling her like I had just got to a certain amount of streams, and it was my first time getting that many. And she was like, when we get to a certain amount, we turning up, we celebrating. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, it's going fast, so let's get ready.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of me. My people's just proud of me. I can't. I mean, obviously, I'm not where I want to be yet. Not in a negative way. It's just there's always somewhere to go. There's always growth.
Yes.
So yeah, I can't complain. I'm gonna talk shit though, but yeah.
Listen, and the thing about it is, what you end up. Well, I'm gonna say what I've learned, and you tell me if it's the same for you.
Yeah.
What I end up learning is, it's actually better for me to not have gotten it through nobody else.
Yeah.
It's like, even if it take longer, it's sweeter, because sometimes the wrong person putting you on can get ugly, because then it's the I made you.
Man.
It's the you wouldn't be here if I did not blankety blank blank blank.
And you never know how anything's gonna affect you too. And I will say in regards to that too, because like, and not to pick on that person, but it's just for the sake of the conversation.
The sake of the conversation.
That person was linked up with someone, excuse me, that said some disparaging remarks about Mac Miller after he passed. So it was like, once that happened, I was like, "Ooh, man, sucks to be friends with that homie." Like that's crazy. But like stuff like just like you said, you never know. Like when you attach yourself to, especially once we get into branding and being certain people, you never know what can happen on the way. And then also you might not be ready for that blessing just yet. You like, I know me, because I'm 31 now. If I was at where I wanted to be at 20, because like when all this happened, I was probably like between 24, 26. If I got popping to the level I wanted to at that time, I would not have been able to handle it.
Come on, bro.
I probably would have fumbled that. So everything's for a reason.
That's another part of that whole thing that we fail to realize. It's like, we all develop at different paces.
Yeah.
So you can have somebody who spent every day with you, who's ready for a big stage that you're not ready for at the same age.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, are you self-aware enough? And are you honest enough with yourself to say, I ain't ready yet?
Yeah. And at the time, I could have sworn I was, but like, I know me, I like order and chaos. Like I like chaotic stuff when it's like happening, like as far as like the shows and stuff, but at the same time there's order to it. But my personal life, I like boring. Like I don't want no whole bunch of stuff going on. I like consistency. I like the same things. Like I'm very happy in the crib. Like that's what I'm doing in between. I'm gonna go home and kick it. I'm chilling, and then I'm gonna go do the next thing I gotta do. But it's just because my shows and like the performance and the musical part of my life is like, and I don't mean chaotic in a bad way. I mean like it's action, there's stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like for example, this week I'm playing sax at a Mexican restaurant on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I'm DJing and playing sax at like a version of Hooters on Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm doing something rap related on Friday, I believe, and then Sunday I'm playing relaxing R&B at a yoga spot.
Let's go.
I love it's different. Like that serves me. But in between that, I don't want no whole bunch of mess going on. I don't need no like, I'm cool. I've had all the homies, the hoes, drinking, all that. I'm like, and not to say I have a good time. I turn up. But it's like that one day. Like I don't need Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm trying to watch horror movies and drink tea. I'm chilling.
So what got you to the point where you decided, okay, in my personal life when I'm not working, I prefer boring?
Just process of elimination over time. Just leaning into what feels good versus what feels comfortable. Like, Cause I was, and again, other things too. Again, to go back to my dad, like how I grew up and certain things that I seen. Cause like I seen a lot of like the turn up when I was growing up, and it's funny because when I was younger, cause I saw people drinking and acting an ass so much, I didn't drink till I was a lot, like probably till I was like 21, 22, and it's always been available to me. But I never did no drugs. I never drank really until I got into college to a certain extent, and then when I got to that point, I noticed I had an issue with excess. Like I always just go a little too far or I turn up a little too much. And when it got to the point that it's like affected my shows or like I remember I blacked out during a performance one time. And I had a couple people complain to me about it. Like, and I'm a very good performer. So I take a lot of pride in my performance. And when that happens, one, it's embarrassing for one. And then for two, it's just like I had to reevaluate myself and just be like, I remember when there was a time where I didn't have the opportunity to perform anywhere. Like there were open mics that didn't let me do it. Like back then I was still trying to do shows in 2012, 2013, but like people were trying to rent their spaces out. I remember I was trying to do a back to school concert because I couldn't afford to stay in school. So I wanted to do a concert to raise money so I can get back in school. And I had I'm going to local restaurants and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, I got sound. I just need the place. And they was like, oh yeah, well, we'll just charge you $1,000, and then we just need 60% of the food and drinks. I'm like, bro, why do you think I have $1,000? You didn't hear what I said? Why I'm doing this? I don't know money. Come on, man. Also, shout out to Jamocha Joe. I don't know where you at, but Jamocha Joe, black business owner, he's not there no more, but he had a coffee shop and he let me do a show there. But
let's go.
But that being said, like remember how hard I used to try to do performances and practice as much as I practice. And it's just like I had to remind myself too, like it's always somebody's first time seeing you perform. And it's just like you're doing yourself such a and it's one thing if you tried your best and maybe you messed something up or you had a mistake, but if you're getting drunk, that's your fault. That is 100% your fucking fault, and you need to grow up. And that was what I had to kind of look at myself and be like, all right, there needs to be more discipline. And then other stuff is just lifestyle shit. I had issues with, people coming to my crib and people saying things happen that didn't happen and shit like that. Or like, I remember I had one moment with my drinking where I was at my crib. I got a house now, thank God. And again, I worked really hard to get my house. I come from like sleeping on couches, staying in people's cribs or whatever. And I don't know what it was. It was just one weekend I was like, I'm just gonna get fucked up. And it was like one day I turned up with this person, the next day was that person, and then I think the last day it was me and he was my roommate at my time and my business partner. Shout out to Chubsy Bear, you were there,
gang.
And it was somebody else we was kicking it with, and I just remember we made like vodka smoothies. I don't know why we decided to do that. It was like that. And like
that sounds interesting though. I ain't gonna hold you.
It was just like it sounds good because it was like we used sorbet ice cream and then fruit, and all them sugars was like you're gonna regret this. And pretty much we turned up for like an hour or two, and then I blacked out and I woke up at like 2 a.m. and like I was in. And to keep at this point I didn't really drink like that no more. This was just like an odd occurrence.
Okay,
but no, like pause. I woke up naked on my floor. There's vomit everywhere, and I'm not on throw her up or something. Like, I'm not. The first thing I felt was shame. I'm like, yo, dog, are you serious? So I go downstairs and like, I had what I call a Pootie Tang. Have you seen Pootie Tang?
Yes,
I love Pootie Tang. So remember when he went out to the country and he like had his own like garden and stuff, and then the corn didn't work out. I had planted my first plants. I never planted anything before. And it was like work. I had like a little garden. Excuse me.
Okay.
And when I was drunk, I had fell in my garden and I crushed all my plants. And I was literally outside at 2 a.m. crying.
Yo, this sound like a movie.
Yeah, like it was my Pootie Tang moment. I'm literally, but like I was for real. And it's funny because one of my friends would joke and was like, when I moved to Petersburg, she was like, yo, you're about to become Pootie Tang. And I'm like, damn, I am actually becoming Pootie Tang. This is my moment. But I think that was the last time I had like a serious because I was so scared because I'm like, bro, what if I burn something? What if somebody died? Like it's other people here and we all this drunk. Like this, like we too old for this. And granted, this wasn't no time recently. This was years ago.
Yeah.
But I was just like that. It was again. It's just shame. It's embarrassment, and then it's just like I'm trying to have fun. Like why are we really doing this? Like there's got to be something else here, G. So. Yeah, after them little couple moments, I'm like, yeah, man,
we got to change it. So boring is where it's at.
Yes. Now again, we turn up, But my environment is way more controlled. I know what works for me, what doesn't work. Like for example, like us turned up is like I'll practice. Like I'm learning how to DJ.
Okay.
So like we'll set up like my speaker I use for gigs. We set that up in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'll get the DJ, and it might be me, her, and like one or two of my friends.
Yeah.
And we'll drink there, and then we'll drink so much, but like we'll make sure we eat in a certain amount, or everybody's drinking just as much water, and then we just get to dance and have a good time.
So you're introducing responsibility and accountability in your turn up.
Oh, always. Yeah. And that, because that was a thing for me too. Once I got like to different circles and I got to leading my thing, pause. Like I noticed, like, also, no disrespect to nobody with the pause. It's
No,
just, it's funny
it's-
to me.
no,
I know
you
some people
good.
get like offended. but like, when I noticed like some of the people I was around was gonna let me do bullshit, but not in like they want me to do bad way. It's just like some folks, they haven't seen me prior, so they don't know that this is the start of me jumping
This
off
is
a
a
cliff.
terrible idea.
Yeah.
Letting him do that is not good. They don't know that.
And like some of them have figured it out.
Yeah.
But like I had to like, but at the same time I had to look and be like, the fact that I even took this moment to stop and wait to see if somebody was gonna stop me from doing this, I'm conscious enough to know that I'm doing something stupid. So I need to like, cause instead of my first thought was, why does nigga let me do that? I should be like, why are you letting yourself do that?
Yeah,
bro.
that ain't on them.
Yeah.
That ain't on them.
Get back in the car.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, I gotta give you props, man, because you're showing me something that I don't think we as black men talk about enough. Like, as a black man, or as a man, period, as a person, period, when do you get to a place where you check yourself? You look at your actions and evaluate where your actions have got you and told yourself the truth.
Facts.
Like, bro, you OD. You OD on the turning up, and everything that you've dreamed of, everything that you've worked for is starting to happen. And alongside that, your irresponsibility can also tear that down at any moment if you keep going the way you're going.
Yeah.
Like, for you to say, like, I want this too bad to let a lifestyle destroy it, that's heavy, bro.
Nah, I appreciate you saying that too. And we was talking about this the other day too, but it's just a lot from my background. I think the best thing that I've been able to see is it not work out, whether it be, for lifestyle reasons. And like I just had a lot of like coming to Jesus moments of seeing certain people look certain ways, and no disrespect to folks, but like, for example, like I ain't gonna say his name, but like when I go back to St. Thomas when I was younger, like usually during the summertime.
Okay.
And I remember it was one year I was with someone and they were like, they're not my cousin, but they like helped my grandfather out with a lot of stuff around the house.
Okay.
So he always looked out for me, and I was really excited. I ain't had no big brothers, so anytime I had like a big brother figure, I'm like always excited. I went back home the next year and he was just different. And I was younger, I didn't get it, but he was just he couldn't really speak. He was like shaking and stuff. So I was like, I don't know what's up. And then I found out later he used drugs. And it wasn't even like he picked up a habit. He hit something that was laced. And now he's just like that forever. Anytime I go home, it's like he's like that now. But and even those moments when I was staying in Hampton and where I was at outside, like I always thought, like, if folks was out, I was ignorant, but anytime I seen people outside, I just assumed if you outside, you're a crackhead. Like, if you look crackheaded-ish, you're a crackhead. And that's just it, forever. But when I got to know people and I was actually outside and I talked to people and I'm actually a part of my community, I realized I'm like, niggas ain't on drugs. It's just like some people, like, sometimes mentally things just, people snap, stuff happens, and you end up there. Or, like, God bless the dead, some of our other friends are part of the collective. Like, one of them, 94, nice, it's my dog, rest in peace. He passed away. And then, like, for me, that kind of showed me, too, that it's, like, obviously nothing's promised, but when you witnessing it's, like, the most talented person out the group, like, doesn't make it, and like, he was murdered. It wasn't like he got sick or nothing like that. And it just sucked because he was so talented, but he always was waiting. Like, okay, I'm not going to put this out, I'm just going to record this, I'm going to wait on that. And it's like, when you keep, and then now I think that was the other reason too I was so upset with that person was just because I'm like, bro, I'm still here. I'm trying. And you see that, and it's just like, it is not no fairy tale. It's like, more than likely, life will not work out for you. And that's not in a negative way. That's a good thing, because it's like, if you can realize that, it should make you want to work, like,
Yeah.
put things in order. Like,
Yes.
okay, this cannot work out. Well, let me if I control my environment, I can make it work. Now, granted, things might happen, but if I can die saying like, well, you know what, I did the best I could do,
Yeah.
and I'm happy with that. You
Yes.
know? So important perspective too.
Yes.
Roger is the way you say
If you can't hold your mule, don't give it to somebody that don't deserve it. Nah,
Please don't.
you know he out here sleeping with everybody,
Don't do it.
and you gonna do it because it feel good. Why? Cause it got a big thing or something. That ain't. You know how many men folk around here? Never mind. I'm just. I'm just saying, there's plenty of fishies in the sea.
If you enjoyed this clip of Be For Real, you can watch the full video. Just head over to RXS Entertainment YouTube channel. You can also listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Just type in BEFUHREAL, period.
And that's the thing, that's the underlying thing that I'm noticing with you that I respect and admire just through this conversation. Like your ability to assess past situations, to make current situations from a smarter perspective is
Yeah. Thank you.
we don't all people don't do that. They will literally know exactly how they failed, and because it feels good, we'll do it again.
Yeah. And I'm not waiting on that. I seen it too much. Like, I had a conversation with one of my homies like that. I had when I first moved to Richmond, I was staying on somebody, but I was waiting on an apartment, and they I won't say they kicked me out, but they wasn't handling their bills right, so they got evicted, and they told me while I was at work, and it was just like, hey, bro, yeah, you got nowhere to come to. And I'm like, bro, I'm at Navy Federal. I'm like, I got my suit on and shit. I'm like, I don't know nobody in Richmond. They was like, well, I'm gonna be at work, so you kind of asked out. So like that, I got off work at 5 o'clock, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing until 8 a.m. And anyways, fast forward, that person ended up going through some things, and me and my other close friend, he tried to do that movie thing where they're like, all right, we're gonna tell this person we're here at that time, and we're gonna tell that person we're here at this time, and then now you're gonna magically become friends again. And I'm like, nigga, why would you do that? So
They try to like coordinate like a intervention type.
like, yo, I think y'all should be cool. I'm like, I'm not gonna be cool with them again. I'm cool with them now, but but we were in the same space, and they were just complaining about everything that was going wrong with them. They had just went to jail. They had this messed up. This didn't work out, and my friend was like, well, you know, everything's gonna be okay. And I was like, nigga, stop lying to her. No, it's not. No, your life is shitty because you fucked up. Get it together. I'm like, your life will do better when you get it together. But no, if you keep doing what you're doing, it's not all gonna work out. Stop waiting on stuff to happen. I'm like, you need to be proactive. You suck. And that's okay.
Initiative.
Hello? It all comes back. Thank you, Dad. Initiative.
Like if a situation is in your control and things have been going bad because of your choices and decisions and mindset, you can easily shift the results by changing your decisions mindset. It's not rocket science.
You feel me? And it might, and it's, if it goes a little deeper into I can't stop doing these certain things, well, now you realize that there's a common denominator, and maybe we should explore that.
Yes.
So sometimes it's easier said than done, but for the most part, it's usually not.
It's not,
Yeah,
because
it's usually
if you have enough courage, because it takes a lot of courage to say, I have an addiction.
Right.
It takes a lot of courage to say, what's the word you use? I do things in excess.
Excess.
I
Yeah.
OD.
You gotta know.
Like, it takes a lot of courage, because it's like, nobody wants to admit something's wrong with me. Right. And essentially, if you say I'm addicted, you're saying something's wrong with me. But if you have enough courage to say, that's an addiction, then you can seek the proper help.
And that's a slippery slope too, because, and I noticed this from, I had a situation I was dealing with not too long, just like a mental thing. And I was like, I couldn't put a finger on, like, why is this bothering me?
Yeah.
And when I looked more into it, I figured out there was a name for it. And when I started researching that more and figuring out how different ways to deal with it. When they said something really impactful, I was listening to this podcast about it, and there was like, the problem sometimes with diagnosis is, wrongful accountability. So a lot of times, like let's say I got diabetes or
Yeah.
whatever, right? And
Yeah.
then that was terrible because I had just I'm not going anywhere with that. But let's just say with like you have a thing and like someone's like, hey yo, you trying? Nah, I can't because my this. Or no, that's probably my this acting up. Like, oh, I have let's say attitude problems are an actual thing.
Okay.
I can't be around this person because I have an attitude problem. It's like, well, bitch, work on it. What are you talking? You know you have a problem, work on it. Like that's the thing that can be the issue with some people with labels is now you have something to like assist blame. It's like, oh, it's not that. It's not me. It's my diabetes. But again, I'm joking.
And then you can get to the. It ain't me. It's the problem.
And now
it's like you can shift accountability to the insert whatever.
You've created an entity now. You've made it a thing. So now you can put a bunch of shit in this thing as opposed to like, bro, that was just there to help you figure it out. Like that's why it's supposed to be there. So that can be, and I've had to check myself because I've done that too, where it's just like, oh, that's not me, that's my trauma. It's like, well, nigga, work on it. I'm sorry that you went through a thing. It's messed up. It's bad, but we all got it. You got work, and it ain't overnight. Obviously, you're never gonna be 100%, but like. You gotta make the effort to get better. You gotta try. And a lot of people don't even try.
And I think sometimes when people have been introduced to situations that does cause them to have some kind of issue, when the problem occurred beyond their control, that's when it's easier to blame it on that.
Yeah.
Like if somebody was abused, yeah, it's not your fault, but 20 years from now, it is your responsibility to grow from it.
You got it.
Because then you could start messing everything up, blaming it on what happened 20 years ago. Yes, it wasn't your fault. Yes, you didn't deserve it. Yes, that person is wrong. But 20 years later, that person ain't even living no more. And your relationship is messed up. Your job ain't working out, and it's because you like, well, 20 years ago this happened, so this is why I am the way I am. And to your point, you have to say, yes, this happened. Now what?
I went through that. I went through that exact situation where it was like, and yeah, if I'm keeping the buck, that's been my issue with quite a few people moving forward in life is like leaning on, what may have happened at one point, because it's like, it sucks, shit does happen. And it sucks, especially the black folks. We have a lot of abuse and trauma that we got to figure out and deal with. Some of it we've inherited, and it sucks, but it's like for our own good, like we got like, whomever, whatever you going through, like, bro, you gotta like really try. And it's crazy because like when I started figuring things out, that was the first thing I said to a lot of my friends. It's like, bro, try this therapy, or if you're not comfortable with therapy yet, try this option. And motherfuckers, like, I've heard the dumbest excuses of, and I was gonna be nice and be like, well, I'm gonna say, nah, it's dumb. Like, it's like, I'm sick, I don't want to take medicine. And I'm glad I got a really good perspective on therapy early. Like when I was like, let's say 2010, my freshman year in college.
Okay.
I had a professor who I don't even know how they got on the topic, but he started talking about therapy, and he was an African American history teacher, and he was just like, why? He was literally just like, white people get therapy, and I'm like, this is gonna be interesting. And
that was like the start of. That's how he started it off.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? And again, this is
That's
another
like comedy.
This is another lesson of you can learn anything from anyone. That same dude went to prison for selling heroin. Couple years later, so balance.
Yes.
But anywho, he was saying essentially that your mind is like your body. You like, there's no shame in going to the doctor. I mean, that's a long conversation, but generally speaking, there's no shame in going to the doctor, getting an annual checkup, make sure you're good. The same for your mind. It's like your mind isn't going to be sharp forever and all the time. Things happen. Your mind has to be taken care of. He's like, white folks figure that out. They go to therapy. He was like, and it's in class, he's like, niggas need to start going to therapy. And I remember niggas in class was like, bro, I'm 18. This is a lot. But that always stuck with me because it made sense. I was like, you absolutely right. And then when I seen folks outside, it was a little different too. I was like, all right, bet. That was like when I was really realizing I was going through some stuff. I was like, I need therapy. Yeah. Like, I got to do it. And it's funny because like when I moved to Richmond, they're a lot more, at the time, I would say more up to date with things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So I did like like a joint podcast with a bunch of people, and they were talking about mental health, and they were all talking about their therapists and how they were in therapy. And I remember and this is after all these realizations, by the way. This is me as an adult.
Okay.
I remember I was there with my homie, and I was like, bro, these niggas is crazy. All these niggas is in therapy. Fuck is wrong with y'all? And then I was like, I'm part of the problem. This is it. I'm the problem. It's me. But I shortly got therapy after that. And that was like as an adult, that's probably one of the best decisions I made. Wow. Yeah. Especially just like, even outside of like, what I didn't like about it was I felt like I had so much back trauma that we didn't discuss. But what I did enjoy about it was in my personal life at that time, I learned so much more about conflict resolution and how to communicate more effectively with people. And then at my time with my partner or whatever. But like now that like I'm in better situations, I'm moving better and forward, like I've been able to take a lot of those lessons, and it's made me a much better man in all aspects of my life.
And that's what's important.
Yeah.
It's like, at what point in your life do you decide, I want to be better? Yeah, this happened. Yeah, this ain't go the way I wanted it to. Yes, I wanted to accomplish this by this age, but I had setbacks. With all of that being said, there has to be a point where you say, I want to be a better person.
Big facts.
Because the crazy thing is, oftentimes, the journey to becoming a better person makes it easier for us to check off the things on our checklist.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, wow, I thought this was hard, but now that I'm better here, it's actually easier.
Oh, yeah.
Because let's say, for instance, it's communication. Before, I was a jerk because I had a chip on my shoulder. Now it's easier for me to get gigs because I know how to talk to people.
Oh, yeah. That was honestly.
So I wasn't working before because I didn't know how to talk to people, not because I wasn't good at my craft.
Yeah, that was a big one for me specifically.
Really?
Like learning how to talk, especially business-wise.
Yeah.
Because, again, and then also different eras and different communities overlapping. Because I'm thinking, like, at one point, you got to shake motherfuckers down to get shit going. Because, again, I just took so much stuff disrespectfully. But, like, I think, yeah, communication-wise, just, like, learning how to give to get. Like, just, like I got no problem now on certain... And it's on both ends. I have no problem doing free shit now, but then I also know when to start charging niggas.
Yeah.
And I had issues on both ends. I've had issues where it was like, I ain't doing shit for free. Fuck you. But then,
which is not smart.
Yeah. But at the same time, I had issues where it was like I was doing too much for people, or like people don't know how to separate that dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was it was just kind of recent. But anyways, at some point in life, I was doing sax gigs with a regular group of people.
Yeah.
And I did it for a lot less than what I normally would charge. I charge a lot more for sax because it's more, professional stuff.
Yes.
And I agreed to do it for less for, the opportunity. And they were like really accommodating other stuff. And they were giving me little words that I kind of fit. Like it was like trigger warning. The trigger words, like they was like, oh, you're fam. And yeah, you're like your family. And I'm like, I met y'all twice.
Yeah, people love to use family to get their discount.
Yeah.
They want a family discount, so they're going to adopt you.
Yeah, and they treated us good. And that's the thing, like they treated us good with amenities. Like we had like a really nice place to stay when we went there. They were mad cool.
They love to do that because people love to be like, the catering was amazing, and you stayed at a 5-star hotel. So here's this $10 for this 2-hour gig.
I can't pay my bills with this comfortable bed. I appreciate it. I thank you for it. But then they didn't give me my bread on time, and it was like normally I take it. I do. Most of it's 50% deposit and then 50% either day of. But before I start doing anything, I need the rest of that bread, and I put that to the side because it was a good opportunity. And the first couple times everything was cool, but then it was like the day of, no money. Then that night, hey, I haven't got the bread yet. No response. Well, we gotta get back because we got another gig. I'm back in Virginia. Hey, I still ain't got that money. Like a day of like, all right, at what point we got to pull back up? Because y'all playing with me now. And so then the person, I think it was like a day or two later, like it was like, because it was like a weekend gig, and they hit me like on Monday or Tuesday. Hey, we had all these things going on. Normally the people that play for us, they usually take less money. So, but I'm like, what the fuck does that got to do with the arrangement that we made? You pay me my money when you say you pay it.
Yeah, facts.
And then ever since, I have not heard from them. And I was cool with doing business further. I was like, all right, cool. Well, just next time.
Let's just fix this and move forward.
Yeah, we cool. Because it's just money. Because at the end of the day, it's money, but it's just money. But it's money. It's money, but it's money. Like, balance. Like it's like, yeah, I gotta get my bills paid, but I'm not gonna lose a friendship over bread. Like, it's not that serious. To me, it's not that serious. Like I can always make more. I can always make less.
And at the same token, you have to hold people accountable to their word.
Exactly. And I feel like you can't, you know, that's what I'm looking for. You can't be a pussy about it. Like, if don't be scary now because I pressed you about the bread. It's cool. We had a moment. We moved past it. You pay me. I'm good. I'm not holding against you. When do you want me to play next month?
Yeah.
I ain't not heard from them since.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm just like.
So what's the lesson you took away from that?
Everything ain't always gonna be good. As long as I move in a way that's respectful to myself, then I'm cool. I can sleep at night. And then also I do find it funny that when you do shit for cheaper, it usually tends to be more of a headache. It's a funny.
Okay, we have to talk about that for a second because I just told one of the homies this. Normally, the clients that want discounts are the most aggravating.
For sure. Long term.
The ones that will pay you the premium price, normally. Here's the thing. Here's why. This is my theory. You let me know if you agree.
Yeah.
Most of the time, like if somebody hired me to produce a song and I charged them $300 for the sake of the conversation. If it took a lot for them to save that $300, they are going to micromanage the fool out of me because the value of that money to them in their life.
Oh yeah.
So I want to make sure this is right and this is right and this is right and this is right and this is right. And can you do that over? And can you do? I don't quite like that because it was hard for me to earn that $300 to give to you.
Exactly.
On the flip side, if a person just got money and they've saved $1,500 to get a song done and they come to you because of your work, the value of that money is different. So they're able to trust you without anxiety.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, I got the money. I'll make more money here. This is what you charge here.
I think it can depend too on the relationship. Like,
Okay.
Because a lot of times them discounts come with personal relationships.
Do you do discounts for homies?
It depends because like for example, we said earlier we have like a very close collective.
Yeah.
Like if Wilkes wanted to feature for me tomorrow, the money's not coming up.
Shout out Wilkes gang.
Money's not coming up. And I know it's the same for him. He's done multiple things for me. I've done multiple things for him.
Yeah.
Now if he asks, we probably have a conversation depending on where I'm at in life. Like, look, but I would never disrespect him and be like, I might be like, hey bro, I might not can get the feature right now because I can't honor your price. But thank you for keeping it a buck with me.
Yeah.
And then I have people like who I do work with, and it's like they might give me a much cheaper price because we work together all the time.
All the time.
But they might also know my personal situation. But because I know that he's doing this for me, and I know how much I hate when niggas do the other end around, I'll make sure I go above and beyond to make sure that they get their bread and that I get the fuck about the way and let them do.
Listen, I'm the above. Oh, okay. So we gotta talk about it. I'm the above and beyond friend. Like, if I hire you, I don't feel comfortable asking you to do it for a discount or for free.
Right.
But I don't feel comfortable giving you my regular fee if you hire me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a sower. Like, my objective is to do whatever it takes to see you win. And then if I ever get an opportunity, do whatever I can to make sure that you good. Because I feel like that'll set me up to have good karma.
Yeah, and in regards to that, just on a business level, I'm very fair with back end. Like when it comes to like royalties and stuff like that, I split that shit down the middle. Like if it's me and my producer, like shout out to Jack Union, by the way. Like let's say maybe he might have looked out or he might not have looked out, whatever the price is, whatever he did for me for that shit. Back end, 50-50. If ain't nobody else on the track, 50-50. Whatever it is, if it's like we doing a show, if we agreed to a certain split, and like, cause sometimes motherfuckers be like, oh, I thought we was only gonna make 200, but we made it rack. Well, I only told you I was gonna. Nah, like I keep it 100% fair with the bread, cause like you say, it's like that's his own type of karma too. It's his own type of energy that you welcome in.
And that can get, bro. First of all, shout out to you, because people will go a lot further, a lot faster with the mindset you have.
Facts.
Because, like, if you're the type of person where you're like, okay, I'm going to split everything 50-50, especially with a producer who doing what they got to do. Like,
Because more than likely, they're doing more work. More than likely, they're doing way more.
and it's like, in the long run, the way y'all can build is crazy. But if you want to make this quick $1,000 by not telling your producer how much you made and that come out, you're going to lose that producer.
Yeah.
You're going to lose that relationship.
And rightfully so.
Yes, you're going to lose it to have a couple $100 today. And it's like, no, man. Like, build and be fair. Like, be fair.
Take care of your people. And it's a lot of time it's just communication. Now, if you communicating with someone and they don't, you can't force no money in nobody's hand.
Right.
So it's like, as long as you doing your due diligence to try and be fair, that's the best you could do. Because I've had issues with that too. I got a lot of songs that's 50-50 with features because people don't want to give me their BMI. Or they don't want to set up a BMI or ASCAP or whatever. Or like when we did all the work, now I'm reaching back, hey, what's your email so I can get you on these splits?
So if they don't care, then that ain't on you.
I'll go for it.
Because some people
I
some people like, I don't even know what it takes to do that, and it don't bother me. But then if that, the crazy thing though, our human nature, don't let it go crazy.
Yeah.
Then they'll be like, hey man, you'll be like,
You ain't seen this message thread? I hit you up 3 songs ago, bro. We making music since 2015. Jeff, I'm talking to you. I'm kidding.
But the key,
That's my dog.
But yeah, the key is though to like when it comes to splits and stuff, like be integral. And I think sometimes the music business has excused shiesty behavior.
Yeah.
Because so many people have become successful off shiesty behavior that people who are trying to come up thinks doing it that way is how you become successful.
It's a shiesty foundation. So that's one of the things we was talking about that too, where it was like the business structure. I think like the 2 most outdated business structures that still have like similar structures is book publishing and music business.
Yes. They're
both very, very, very unfair.
Yes.
Like, and it's just,
and they're in favor of the people who do the least amount of work.
yeah, it's very, and it's not sustainable. And I think, and it's funny because had a conversation about this with someone a couple years ago where I was like, I don't think the model of music business is good long term, especially in regards to like American business and infrastructure. Because well, that's the one thing too is like, I think because of our age, it's hard for us to put in perspective how new a lot of this is. Like people wasn't really doing albums till like the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, before that it was just, record. It was like side A, side B, or like
like 4 songs in all most of the time.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
So
like 2 minutes and 30 seconds per song type.
And that's just 100 years. Music's been around as long as we have, for real. That's the first form of communication. That's in my opinion, like spiritual communication. So it's like, I think when you have things of that nature, it's not meant to be put in these types of systems. And I feel like it's always going to work against it because it's not of that. Like, I feel like long term, they'll never work. That's why it's like, it's working how it's working now, where things are like, music business, like as far as a big record label, it's not really sustainable anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're seeing it start to dwindle down. So it's like, independent artists is working, and it's like it's still a struggle, but you're seeing it's way easier now than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It might not have even been possible for most people 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So I feel like stuff like that, that's always going to be natural. You just got to wait for that system to crumble. And then again, just figure out what you want to do your own research, know what makes sense but don't make sense.
Yeah. So as an independent artist, I want to know 2 things. I'll do the bad thing first. What's been the biggest struggle as an independent artist? And what's been the biggest blessing as an independent artist?
The same thing, the finance.
So the best and worst thing is the same.
Yeah, because it's like knowing what you need to do and not having the money for it. Like, damn, bro, if I and like, especially when you know how to make it work too, because it's like I know how to make bread off of it, but again, stuff changes so fast that it's like it's a little bit harder to keep up, especially like for me, like, all right, I might not make that much off streams, but I can sell this hoodie for $40.
Yes.
But it's like back then, it was, well, I won't say back then, but when I first started selling merch, I was outside. Outside was more of a thing. I could have more opportunities to go outside and sell my stuff. I didn't really have to worry about e-commerce. Now I got to do e-commerce, and granted, the systems are easier there. The system is there, it's established, but it's harder to get it out there because it's like, okay, now how do I communicate? Ads, which ads cost money. I need
Ads
ads for
cost
the
money.
music. I need
Yeah.
this and that. And it's like, and granted, it's way cheaper than it would have been 10, 20 years ago. Like for me, like I noticed, I'm like, damn, if we had $10,000, we could change our lives. If we had 5,000, we could make this a really good album rollout.
Yeah.
But when the money coming in, it's like, oh, bet we good. This is way more than I thought. Producer here, us here, get the team, this and that, and it circulates way easier. So I can't imagine having like to answer to a large label or a big team, and you got to split up everything however so many ways. I'm gonna make sure everybody get they shit straight. But that's why I'm glad. Got a small team. Again, shit is expensive. Cool, we'll get there. We'll figure it out. Building up business credit. It takes time.
Yeah. And are you willing to be patient in that process?
I ain't got a choice.
Ah.
Yeah, it's a matter of do you want to be happy or no? Like, cause you're gonna have to be patient at the end of the day.
And like that's a good point because you can get to a place where you have to be patient anyway because time got to do its thing, and it can be a joyful patience or you can be annoyed by it. But either way, you got to wait.
You can't outrun time. You can't outrun karma. It's just you just got to deal with it at the end of the day. So you better figure out how you want to deal with it.
Because either way, you got to deal with it.
Yeah, and I would say the only thing with time is you can't rush stuff, but at the same time, you can definitely prolong it. So if you wait into like if you just keep putting shit off, that's on you. You waiting, like so you can keep waiting. But I think there are definitely ways to be smart about stuff because it's like, what would rushing be? Rushing would be like, what, putting out a song every week, every month, which, if that's what people do, it's no problem if that works for you. But that's what you got to ask yourself is like, do I want what's going to come with releasing, for shits and giggles, let's say a song a week? Because that could be cool, but now you've built up a structure based off of that. You might have a plan though. You might be like, okay, well I'm gonna do this until I get to that point, and then this, blah blah blah. Cool. Again, there's no wrong or negative thing. It's just a matter of what works for you, or what do you want to work for you. What do you want your setup to be, and figuring that up. And then as long as you can deal with what comes with that, you can sleep at night. That's shit. That's the whole thing.
As long as you can do what you have to do to sleep at night. That's the whole thing.
Hell yeah.
Because I'm sitting here thinking about that statement. And whether it be anxiety or whether it be being impatient or whether that be being frustrated because things aren't happening the way you want them to happen. Creatives go to bed and don't sleep, bro.
Hell yeah. Shit, she could tell you. I'd be waking up, I'm a ball of anxiety. But learning how to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, and we was talking about this too, where like, I made like I wouldn't say a resolution, but a personal declaration this year where I'm kind of in like that in-between point of like, either this is going to have to start making more sense financially or I got to get back to the regular 9 to 5, bro. And there's no shame in either. It's just, what works. So I kind of made like a personal like prayer and I put it out there. I'm like, look, I'm going to try really, really hard in January to go and I know I try hard regularly, but I know I'm going to actively again, I'm taking free gigs. I'm doing, as long as I'm playing 3 places a week or I'm hitting up. Because you saw, as soon as I hit you up, you was like a date, what's the first one?
Yeah,
I'm trying to keep that energy going. So it's like, I want to say I tried before I get to February. And if it don't make sense, then I'm still going to keep the same energy, but I'm going to also get back into the regular world. But I'm going to I don't care if I'm not making nothing. I'm just going to keep the door open for some money. I'm going to have my sign up. I'm going to have my jar. I'm not going to say no if they offering, but I'm telling I just want the opportunity. So last week was my first week where I was just I'm just going to go everywhere and ask, do y'all need somebody to play saxophone?
Oh.
And I did that. I played, that was when I played at, shout out to the Mexican homies. I played at a Mexican spot in the cut on Tuesday. And it was like a wild, I don't know if y'all got it was like a crazy storm last week. But
we got some crazy rain. Yeah, it didn't hit us as hard, but it was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first day. I was like, well, shit. I told him I'm coming. I'm pulling up. So I played it for. There wasn't nobody in there, but I think he respected that I pulled up. Came back the next day, made $10. But what I can say is when I went home, I was I slept so good. I felt good. And again, I've been doing music, but it was something about just doing it that day. I was like, yo, I feel great. And the same shit I went back on Wednesday, and I'm sure it's gonna be the same shit today I feel great right now. I felt great
Yeah.
waking up this morning, getting up early, brushing my teeth, scratched my chin when I was shaving. I was like bad. I was like good anxious. I'm like first gig anxious. Like, yeah, we in here. So I just gotta follow the feels. Like, if it feel right, I think it's good. When as soon as the shit start feeling wrong, then it's like, all right, well, let's reevaluate.
Make the adjustment.
Yeah.
So right now, you're still doing music as a rapper as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any like current music out?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked. Yeah, we actually just put out a project called Invite Only. Probably about a month old right now. It's on all streaming platforms. But more importantly, camera, if you would like to buy it from us, you can. If you're in my bio, as long as you can spell Skuzii, S-K-U-Z with 2 I's. Yeah, you can purchase the album directly from us, and all the money goes back to us. And coincidentally, the album's on the same website that you can get my hoodies at
Gang,
and everything. If I could put an octopus on it, I sell it, so it's on there. But yes, I do have album out.
Invite only.
Invite only.
So they can stream it, or you prefer, if they are willing to buy it directly from you.
And if you're able to.
If you're able to.
My preference is getting the music out there. It's just, I know people like to support. Again, my financial doors are open. So if you want to,
open.
please feel free. But yeah, like, even if you don't have any, like, if for some reason you down bad, you don't got nothing to stream off of, it's on YouTube too. You can go up there and for the free. As long as you got access to the internet, you can see it. So there's no way that you cannot listen to this project. It's available literally everywhere.
Absolutely. Before we go, is there anything that you want to say, anything you want people to know, any other thing that you want to promote?
I mean, I will circle back and say, take a listen to that. It's a really good album. It's I was very intentional about it, making it feel good, but at the same time, there's a lot of good emotions that were communicated effectively. It's probably one of my first mostly upbeat projects. It ain't no pop, nothing like that, but it's a good mix. There's a lot of Caribbean elements in there. There's calypso, there's soca, but then there's also house in there too. The song Samoa's on, which, by the way, there's a song with Samoa on it.
Gang.
That one's really, that's probably my favorite right there. That one's got all types of like just club elements in there too, and it sounds angelic. Like that if for some reason you don't know who Samoa is,
Yo,
man, he's an actual angel, and it sounds like it. If I could compare the sound of that track, it sounds like an angel is scooping your favorite mashed potatoes and gravy and slowly placing it on a plate for you.
come on, visual.
And said, "Good job, baby." That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But yeah, it's a great project. So I would say definitely go, just take a listen and let me know. Let me know what you think about it. If you enjoyed it, cool. If you didn't, fuck you. I'm just kidding. Nah. That's okay too. If you didn't like, everything's not for everybody. But support the brand. Go buy some hoodies, go buy some shirts. If you see us, we do a bi-monthly event at Charlotte Southern Deli and Tapas. It's my homie's restaurant up in Richmond, Virginia. We do Finesse Fridays. It's a bi-monthly event that we do. We have other performers. We have other DJs. We have a gentleman that makes pizza. Shout out to the homie. It's a very, very great vibe. We had one for New Year's. We had a cozy show.
Let's go.
Should see me and my lady. We look great. We had all cream on. Looked like a Harlem couple. Like I had cocaine and a bucket hat. Very, very lovely time. But yeah, just support the brand. Follow. Talk to me. Talk back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, man.
Thank you for having me. It was a great time.
This has been another episode of the RXS podcast with Skuzii. We out. Peace.
Yeah.